going to make a little video. I'm using the new One Button Studio for this. So, topic of the poster, the tagline was, "Are you strong enough? Never shake a baby." So first question is, what's in the media? What's on the screen? Well, you see a background, you have a man holding a baby, and there's some text. Background's the sort of on the reddish side of brown. There's like a diagonal gradient that goes from the upper left to the bottom right. So that's about the background. Now the man is pretty interesting. There's a lot going on with this guy. He's got a very erect posture, showing that he's strong. He's got a pretty neutral expression. If you look carefully, you can see he's got kind of a 5 o'clock shadow. He's looking at the camera, not at the baby. Interesting. He's also wearing a sleeveless shirt, which is sometimes called a muscle shirt. He's got a wedding ring, which means that he's married. He's also Maori, which is the indigenous people of New Zealand. He's got a tattoo, he's got dreadlocks, he's wearing this green teardrop, and that symbolizes healing. He's holding a baby, and the baby's wearing this nice pink outfit. Baby has dark hair. She's asleep. We can kind of assume it's a female because the pink is often a symbol of a female, and she's very peaceful there. Text is the last thing. 2 colors there. Essentially, you've got the tagline in a bit darker color, and you've got the main text in white. It's one font, really, and it's just bold and normal weights of text. Now, the text content is interesting. So there's the tagline in real big text, and there's a little paragraph under that says why you should not shake a baby. There's a URL to get more information about the Power to Protect program, and then there's at the bottom, there's a little teeny URL that talks about the New Zealand government. So that's kind of what's in the image. What's the message? Well, the basic idea, the purpose of it is to persuade you. The message is that you need to be emotionally strong in order not to shake your baby. So they're showing you a guy who you can assume is sort of physically strong, saying he needs to be emotionally strong to resist that temptation to shake his baby. The audience is parents in New Zealand, specifically. It was produced by the National Ministry of Social Development and the Auckland Region's District Board of Health. And it was part of a program called Power to Protect that was launched in 2009. So that's basically what's the message. Well, what works? This gets a little bit more into opinion. I'd say it's pretty clear that there's contrast here. There's contrast between the strong brown man and the weak pink baby. The rule of thirds is very clearly followed. The text, both of the faces, the pendant are all at the intersections on the grid. There's alignment between the man and the baby. The negative space is kind of an interesting thing. There's not a lot of things there, but there's also not much open space. Then the text is clearly set off by a little bit of negative space. So what's emphasized here? Well, you're pretty clearly drawn to the important elements, the man and the baby. Right? Colors. What are the colors? Well, the dominant colors really are pinks and browns, nice warm colors. But there's also that little green pendant, which kind of stands out. Production value, I'd say it's pretty darn good. Right? A lot of attention to detail is shown by the kind of details of the tattoo and so forth of the man. And I think the impact is really highly emotional. All right, so that's the third question. Now the last one is definitely a question of opinion, right? What needs work? And several of you in the class suggested some things. I'm going to throw a couple in myself. That little government URL at the bottom, it's kind of redundant with the more information URL, and it's hard to see. That tagline is darker. You might make it the white color so it stand out more and make the rest of the text that light color. The upper left is very dark. There's not a lot of contrast there. Some people suggested you could reduce the amount of text or maybe space it up so to be a little more legible. Maybe include some more statistics, but then there'd be more text. You could even change the tagline, say you are strong enough, maybe a more positive message. And finally, there's a little bit of a sort of a social question here. Why is the subject a Maori father rather than sort of a European father? Well, there is a kind of a reason for that, in that the statistics of the time were showing that there was a higher incidence of shaking babies among the Maoris. So that's a quick run through of some of the different points that you could make about this image. So obviously there's a lot going on there, so I hope you found it interesting.